Ready to move to the next level in your product career? I'm Shobhit from Intentional Product Manager. Join me as we discuss ways to help you stand out in your job search and your career so you can have more impact and make more money. Hey everyone, welcome to the Intentional Product Manager podcast, where we dive deep into career growth, leadership, and the future of product management. I'm your host, Shobhit Chugh, and today's guest is someone who's been shaping AI product landscape for literally decades. Shub Agarwal is a senior vice president of AI at US Bank. He's a professor at University of Southern California teaching AI, generative AI, and product management, and author of the recently released book, Successful AI Product Creation, a 9-step framework. If you're a product leader, aspiring AI PM, or just someone curious about AI's impact on product development, you don't want to miss this conversation. Shub, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Shobhit. Excited to be here and looking forward to diving into AI product management and the world of AI product creation.
Great to have you here. Let's start with the big picture view first. You've been in AI for like 20 plus years. Many people didn't even know AI exists for 20 years. It has. So, what's changed the most in how AI products are built today versus maybe before?
Last 20 years, we have seen a lot of shift. I see three major shifts that are occurring in the industry right now. The first is the shift from what we call as a traditional AI, and we used to call it machine learning, traditional ML, to the generative AI. And now we are moving towards the agentic AI era. And you can think of it as moving from predictive to generative to reimagining the entire workflows. That's the first way. The second is I see a challenge in industry today where there's a lot of AI tools, increased accessibility of AI tools versus growing complexity of deploying actually them in the real time, in the generative AI and the agentic AI era. I call it the AI paradox. More accessible tools, still failed deployments. The third major shift that we are seeing is AI is moving from being a specialized capability to an invisible interface. AI is no longer a feature, it is becoming a fabric of every digital experience. The most exciting products today aren't just using AI as a feature, they are reimagining entire experiences with intelligence at its core, intelligence infused across the customer journey, for example. I call it AI is the new UX.
Before I go into the next question, just tell me more. What do you mean by AI is the new UX?
So I actually talk about that in my book as well, where I have a chapter dedicated to it. AI is the new UX. So AI will be the new UX because actually, if you go back and think about it, we decided to add buttons, menus, screens, GUIs to interact with computers. Even the tap modality that we use to interact with mobile devices, they are they are designed so that we can talk to computers, but they're not natural way of how humans communicate. AI has made UX what is was always meant to be: invisible, intuitive, and human. Think about it. Buttons and screens are just layers through which we learn to interact with computers, and they will disappear in the new AI era. So we are seeing three shifts here: from static interfaces to dynamic experiences, from commands to conversations, and AI driven interfaces won't just be reactive, they will evolve, learn from user behavior, and provide proactive assistance.
It's going to be more like interacting with another human rather than interacting with a computer.
Absolutely, absolutely. AI will be like living organism in the organization that will continuously learn, evolve, and actually surprise us in so many very interesting ways.
That sounds exciting and scary at the same time.
And that's why you need to have a guardrails to make sure that excitement is positive.
Let's talk a bit more about the things you've covered in your book. You mentioned that AI product management is fundamentally different from traditional product management. Tell me more, like why is that the case?
Yeah, first, I want to emphasize that a lot of core fundamentals and the product thinking remains same. For example, customer discovery is still foundational. AI doesn't eliminate the need to understand user needs. Create clear product vision and disciplined execution remains crucial. Those fundamentals don't change. The methodologies that we have created about creating product, they are still the core and they are still quite important. But everything that changes. AI introduces new dimensions, new paradigms. First, AI is probabilistic in nature, not deterministic. So you don't just define requirements, you manage probabilities. And in the book, I talk about a lot of these things in the detail, and that's why I have laid out this 9-step framework. But let me go through three things here. The first is I talk about the AI acceptance criteria. AI acceptance criteria versus the acceptance criteria in the traditional software world. They're quite different because we are talking about probabilities. And this is where stakeholder expectations, defining what good looks like, comes in. The second is what I call as fine wine problem, or also you can think of it as innovator's dilemma problem in some way, where AI products in the initial stages of development underperforms the traditional software, how humans will perform. But through nurturing, iteration, and patience, just like a wine, will outperform and become really, really good at its job. And one of the biggest challenge in the organizations are lot of these AI products never see a day of light from demo to production because people don't understand how to create that ramp up plan, how to feed it more data, how to have that patience, how to help AI exceed that human level performance. And the third piece is there's a mindset needed for human plus AI to work together to amplify the human creativity. And that's also a fundamental shift from regular product thinking. We are bringing human and AI together from other software developments.
I love the point of there's actually going to be a longer ramp up time for AI to, like when you start working with AI, it will be almost frustrating that, hey, why isn't, I would be done by just normal software development standards by now. And because people don't anticipate that, they might give up too soon or they might just lead to failed deployments.
And that is why the mindset shift in the organizations and how the engineering teams and how data science teams work together, how business works together with product, and how to think about all of this in a fundamentally different ways, super important.
One of the things I loved about your book, I got an early preview, was it's very structured. You break down AI product creation into a 9-step framework. Can you walk us through the key steps?
My book is focused on a methodology. So think of it this way, to begin. AI success isn't just about the best model. I truly think that's super important, having models, having technology, but it is also about applying them with right methodology, rigor, and mindset. Models are foundational, but without structured approach, even the most powerful ones risk staying in the prototype instead of transforming industries. So that is why I developed this 9-step framework. And it's not a theory, but a battle tested playbook that turns AI from experimentation into real world impact. And I have broken it down into 9 steps, and you can think of it as a 3 pillars. The first pillar or the first group is the strategic foundation, under which the first 3 steps I'm going to talk about. Step one is the fundamentals, mapping AI to business goals. Avoid AI for AI's sake, solving real high value problems with AI as an enabler. Don't do AI for AI's sake. A lot of people talk about it. In the book, I have mentioned a little bit of a framework around that, how to think about it in the AI context. Step two is understanding AI capabilities and use cases. And this is where you can think about the curiosity, which we have talked about in the regular product world, being a fuel for product managers. That's what they live on. That goes on steroids. Because in now today's world, product managers are expected to keep on evolving with the rapidly changing world, as well as they're expected to know and understand technology at much more deeper level. how fundamentally AI works. They need to understand it to build great AI products. And I call it the breakthroughs of tomorrow start with questions we ask today. The third is building an experimentation culture. We know experimentation culture is super important. We have talked about it from long time. But then again, in the AI world, this goes at exponential level. We're not talking about linear roadmap. The roadmaps are fundamentally non-linear in nature. Roadmaps needs room for experimentation from ground up, discovery, continuous evolution. Think of it as in the AI world, no oops in the roadmap, no aha either. You need to bake in the experimentations throughout the journey. No aha. Right. Now coming to part two, which is you can think of it as implementation and integration pillar. The step four is syncing through two very different cycles: machine MDLC and SDLC, model development lifecycle and software development lifecycle. It's not only about the processes that are different, it is the mindset and the goals being very different too. Engineering optimizes for scalability and stability, while data science embraces iteration, experimentation, and uncertainty. And the magic happens when dev and the ML cycles sync. Think of code repository and notebooks are syncing together, and that's where the magic happens. Step five is scaling AI from research to production. Uh, Building an innovative model is critical, but so is taking it from research to experiment to a reliable, scalable production system. And success comes from honoring both words and thinking about how to understand the research, honor the research, and then take that research from research labs to a production capability. Now, step six, we talked about a little bit earlier, defining AI acceptance criteria. Traditional software has a done criteria, and AI truly never has. It is never done. Plus, you need to teach your stakeholder and understand what good looks like and in what context. It depends on the business context and the application. And that piece, I have also seen lot of organization struggling and wrapping their head around what is a good for AI products. Now coming to part three is essentially the sustainable excellence and innovation. That is where we talk about as a step seven, planning for human level performance and beyond, the fine wine problem. AI starts as an underdog, often performing below the human standards, but with the right feedback loops and training, it can surpass traditional software. Step eight is addressing AI ethics, bias, and explainability. And while it is a step eight, don't think it should come at the eighth step. It should be incorporated throughout your life cycle, right? Humans have biases and we train AI to mimic human decision making. So naturally, AI inherits those biases. AI decisions impact people, and responsible AI requires proactively addressing those biases, right? Building ethical practice across the overall cycle as a key for using right data and insight. And that is what I've talk about in a lot of detail in the book as well, how to think about it, how to have those right rigors and those frameworks established within the model building life cycle. And the step nine is the operationalizing AI, handling model drift associated with it. Um, you can think of it as AI. Now, I gave you a wine analogy. This is where I guess a cheese analogy applies a little bit. AI, like cheese, does not age well. You need to attend to it. Otherwise, unlike software, which will remain static, like you developed it, it will drift, it will stop performing. And so you need to have this proactive capability, and it's a new muscle for a lot of organizations to build that team that is predictively understanding how your AI capability has drifted or stopped performing at the level you want it to be and is not giving a good experience before a customer complains.
I love the wine and cheese analogy. One thing that I've been hearing often on LinkedIn is about if you're good at writing evals or evaluations, like, you can help build really good software. Like, tell me more about what are evals and how does it fit into this framework?
So the way I think about the evolves have actually are about um, we needing to understand whether the model is performing at a certain level that we have categorized it on. So let's say we want our model to give a outcome that is aligned to our brands. So we are creating a evaluation framework in which we want to test whether it meets our brand guidelines or not. That's an example of a very simple example of a eval. Um, Obviously, the standard ones are set up as their hallucinations there or not, their bias there or not. Is it performing at a PhD level? There are a lot of such frameworks like Glue, Super Glue, Helm that are also put in place, that are also used at this moment, at the time. But the way I will think about Evol is it is about uh, making sure AI meets the acceptance criteria that you're looking for. That's one. The second is it also goes along the aspect of whether AI is exceeding or meeting the human level performance or not. So the product manager in the AI era will have to make those evolves that are there in the industry and make them very context specific to the company they are working for or the use case they are working for, and then figure out based on those evolves what is the acceptance criteria for their business, their use case, and then how to make sure it that model exceeds the human level performance in their specific context again. For example, if the sales team, this AI is built to make the sales team more efficient, how can AI um, do a better job than if a human will provide that information to another human? Or a simple brand guide will be provided to them. How's it different? How does it exceed it?
And like this is a hot topic. People are consistently talking about it. So let's first talk about what are the most critical skills product managers need if they're looking to move into AI based product management.
In the AI tools gold rush, um, everyone is actually running and trying to learn new AI tools. And it is important to keep up, up to date on what is happening in industry, learn the new tools. It's great. But I actually think, and this is what I teach to my students as well, and anyone who comes for advice, is it is not about the tools only, but it is about understanding the fundamentals and foundation. Okay. So, first, understanding AI concepts is crucial for AI product creators and also for anyone who is thinking about building AI products in any capacity. Gaining intuition about how AI works is key because model will keep on evolving. But if you understand the foundation, you will always be ahead of the curve. More than just a tool knowledge, because tools will become, I call it like Google Docs. Tools will become like Jira. You will be expected to know, no one is going to ask you, or it will not differentiate you. The second very interesting shift that is occurring is because of the tools is AI tools are blurring the lines between product managers, coders, and designers. Think of rise of AI product managers. So for more core AI product creator roles, while I don't think coding is mandatory, at, at the same time, boundaries between technical and non-technical roles are dissipating, I encourage people to not be afraid of coding anymore, because there's an assistant that is helping you to understand and build things that you um, were not able to build before on your own. So, understanding that logic, understanding that structure will become fundamental in the roles as well. Think of it this way also. Uh, Product managers were expected to build mockups when needed very quickly on Balsamic. Now they'll be expected to build a prototype very quickly using some coding tool, or understand what is happening in the code by chatting with the code. So that will become very, very foundational. Beyond that, yeah, product managers, it's a very, very coveted role, a high demand, high skill role, need a holistic approach. They need data fluency, how model learn and fail. They need experimentation and iterative development mindset. They need to be grounded in ethical considerations and AI bias. And that's something that is very, very new, because every product manager will need to know those. Um, and the stakeholder management keeps on becoming a key. It just becomes more complex in today's world.
I totally agree about the tool gold rush that you've been talking about. And at the same time, it feels like sometimes product managers tend to embrace being technical, but then they go like way too deep into being technical. Just for example, trying to become a cloud architect and doing a cloud architect certification rather than being, first of all, a super user of ChatGPT or Claude or something like that. And then like building things with vibe coding and stuff like that. They go too deep too fast, is my observation.
Yeah, your balance is important. I think the right people who succeed is who understand the technology foundation in depth, but they can come out of that depth and then operate at a higher level of strategy, vision, and the user experience and needs, and relate to those, and then go back again and then come back again. And that's a very, very interesting skill to have, an interesting skill to develop. And it's always you can fall in the trap, and I have done so too. Sometimes I fall in that trap, and then I've realized, and I've tried to come out of that trap, and then you go only in the strategy, then you realize you're not in the core crux of how to build stuff, and you need to understand it to actually make an impact. So you have to have that dance back and forth.
Let's talk about some of the lessons you might have learned. So, you worked in AI product leadership at Amazon, Gen AI, Silicon Valley startup, some e commerce and retail companies, Expedia, fintech, financial services. Like, you clearly have a lot of experience in this space. And now, US Bank. So, what are some of the lessons you wish you knew earlier on in your AI career?
3 lessons I have learned, which I wish I knew, I wish I had a foresight for all of them, is uh, the first is AI products can't be measured on business KPIs alone, or the AI metrics in isolation. You must track both uh, precision, fairness, has hallucination, the bias, the AI metrics. They matter as much as business impact, engagement, and revenue. You need to have both. The real challenge is mapping input metrics to output goals, and then setting OKRs that align both for teams and for your leadership. Because leadership sometimes is focused on business metric, but then you have to have that education, you need to have that discussion around um, the metrics, the other metrics, or at least you need to be able to map it so that they work in sync. If you are only optimized for one, you risk building something that either doesn't perform, has business risks, or doesn't get adopted. So you need to have both metrics aligned, and you need to figure out how that syncing of input and output metric will look like. Um, the another piece I have learned is uh, don't build AI for sake of AI. AI should be invisible when done right. The best AI products don't announce themselves; they just work, and they should solve real customer problem, and there should be real alignment. because adoption becomes really challenging in the AI world, because we are still dealing with humans when we're talking about adoption. Um, and AI is not about replacing human; it is about augmenting them. And the last one of the most interesting I have observed is, and one I want to add is, in the new Gen AI era, especially, AI products can surprise you. We should design actually our AI products so that they surprise you. Unlike the previous era, where you build for predictability, you know what that outcome is going to look like and how your AI is going to behave. The product innovators today need to build systems and guardrails so that these surprises are positive and they provide outcomes that are desirable uh, along the line. I'll give a very quick example just to close that point about a surprise. I worked for a company and we had to build a chatbot so that we can improve the interaction between the customers, right? That experience was aligned towards our growth goals and aligned towards the customer interaction goals. But what we got was very deep data insights from those interactions, because customers will throw so much insights, and the same technology through which the chatbot is running. Now we can use the NLP engine to extract the sentiment, extract what problems customers facing, and we can feed them back into the engine to understand our retention issues, to understand customer pain points and problems, and we can build a whole strategy around it. Unlike the NPS surveys where customers are not responding properly, we are getting this rich natural text through which we can build our strategy around. This is for a very simple example of AI surprising us in a positive way.
As we come towards the close of the podcast, let's talk about one major takeaway. Maybe if there was one takeaway from your book that you want listeners to remember, what would it be?
AI product success is not about algorithms alone. Yes, they are important, but it's about structured execution. In the book, I talk about it's not the technology, but the methodology. If you follow the right frameworks, you can bridge the gap between research and real world impact. And I'll close with this thought: the future belongs to those who see products not as something to build once, but as evolving organisms that never stop learning, changing, and surprising. That's the essence of AI product creation.
When and where can people get their hands on successful AI product creation?
The book launched on April 15th and is available on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, and all major retailers worldwide. Huge thanks to Wiley for helping bring it to the broader global audience. I'm also incredibly grateful for support and endorsements from leaders from Meta, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and from educators and professionals from Stanford, MIT, Carnegie Mellon, Harvard, UCLA, USC, where I teach right now. You can also follow along on the my LinkedIn page, or visit my newsletter to keep on getting updates on those.
Shub, thank you so much for sharing your insights on AI product creation, on wine and cheese, and of course on AI product careers.
Thanks, Shobhit. Absolutely loved the discussion.
Hey, be sure to check out our website at intentionalproductmanager.com to see how you can level up in your career.